Good evening, everyone. Adequate notice of this meeting was provided by sending such notice to the Asbury Park Press and Middletown Patch, and the Middletown Township Public School District website, and the posting of such notice at the Clovis T. Minor Administrative Offices, each elementary, middle, and secondary school in the district. We're going to do a roll call. Joe Minnies.
Here.
Leonard Caminiti.
Here.
Joe Fitzgerald.
Here.
Barry Evans.
Here.
Deb Wright.
Here.
Gary Tull.
Here.
Liz Barley.
Here.
Jacqueline Tobacco.
Here.
And Frank Capone is here. I need a motion for executive session to discuss personnel, legal matters, and HIV.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? See you in a little while. Good evening, everyone. Adequate notice of this meeting was provided by sending such notice to the Asbury Park Press, the Middletown Patch, and the Middletown Township Public School District website, and the posting of such notice at the August 2 minor administrative offices in each elementary, middle, and secondary school in the district. Vote.
Mrs. Caminiti? Here. Mrs. Farley? Here. Mr. Fitzgerald?
Here.
Mr. Heffernan?
Here.
Mrs. Minimes? Here. Mr. Toth?
Here.
Mrs. Wright? Here. Mrs. Tobacco? Here. Mr. Capone?
Here. We're now going to stand for the pledge in a moment of silence and sadness and share that Roberta Macy Zell passed away on Sunday, August 20th. Mrs. Zell was a beloved teacher at Fort Collins School for many years and left a lasting positive impression on her students. Ms. Zell retired in 1997 after serving with students at Fort Collins Elementary School and a fourth grade teacher for 25 years. The school community offers our deep condolences to Ms. Zell. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Committee reports, we're going to start with Mrs. Farley, curriculum and instruction.
Sure, great, thanks. A couple things I'll just hit on. You'll see some of them on the agenda. We have revamped the gifted and talented criteria, so there's a pretty comprehensive identification matrix now, which I think is going to be really helpful in helping everyone understand, what qualifications you need to get into that program. So that's on the agenda for tonight. We also, the district put out an assessment calendar for this school year that you'll see that they worked really hard over the summer to streamline the number of assessments that are given so that we're not just needlessly giving tests, for no reason. It's very targeted and focused, which I think is great. What else? The Parent University series is going to be rolled out. I think information about that is also available on the website. It's a series of sessions that are going to be held over Zoom for K through 12, a bunch of different topics. The list is out there, and anybody who wants to join. And then I think it's also going to be recorded so people can watch it later. Anything ranging from testing to student services, lots of different great topics. So that's going to be really exciting. There's also the shared services agreements on there with Keensburg, which is where we send some students out to Keensburg's Law Enforcement Academy, and we receive some of their students for our EP courses, so that's on for both as well. And then we also have some curricula on for approval as well. The 9th grade seminar and the comics, graphic literature, graphic novels and literature are on there, as well as the full curriculum list. So this is finalized, and that's what we'll be voting on this evening for the school year. That's it.
Ms. Farley. Mr. Tuff, student services.
Thank you. Yes, we also had a meeting on August 10th. A couple of highlights that I'll touch on. One, the ESS program, which was the kind of wraparound services for certain special ed students that was set up at Lincroft last school year. The administration has been moving that to Thompson this year because the population it was designed for at Lincroft is no longer there at the current time, but there is a need at Thompson. It is something that was designed to be flexible so it can be moved where the need is. So this year it'll be at Thompson. There's an existing that can benefit from that. The other thing, the administration provided us with a kind of a rundown of all the different special ed expenses, particularly involving out-of-district placement and outside vendor expenses. And so that's going to allow us to dig into that a little more, do somewhat of an audit to explore ways we can increase the internal employees that provide those same services locally within the district and at a reduced cost. So we'll be looking into that going forward. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Tuff. Facilities and Finance, Mr. Doherty.
Our committee met on the 23rd and reviewed items that are on the agenda this evening for voting. One of them being a master facilities plan proposal that's been revised based upon the discussion of the committee in the last few months and actually broken down now into 2 phases. So this will be phase 1 to develop a master plan assessment of our facilities with projections 5 to 10 years out. We'll be focusing on space planning evaluation to accommodate programs, review underutilized space, essential building systems, site circulation, drainage, enrollments, etc. So that is on the agenda this evening. We also have, related to the high school north track and field project, we have the rescinding of the contract and the rejection of the remaining bids. We did discuss with the committee that we will be revisiting the bid specifications. We have got some more information on the existing drainage on the site, and we are going to be working with our architects to put out a new set of specs and put the project back out in the fall. We also, as we know, we were able to obtain previous plans from the engineering firm that worked on the building many years ago. So we are reviewing those, our architects and engineers reviewing those too, and we need to do some verification of whether what's reflected on the plan is actually there. So we're in that phase right now. We also have on the agenda for vote tonight the approval of the purchase of new playground equipment for Lincroft that is being funded partially by PTA donation and partially by budgeted funds in our capital budget, and also partially from funds that the Lincroft school set aside for their own equipment. So that is on the agenda this evening. We also have change of use and dual use facilities forms. I have to go to the New Jersey Department of Ed County Office for review. They're related to the New Monmouth Media Center space that we're doing a project to divide that space up to use for in smaller instructional areas, and also change of use for the room at Middletown Village that is currently being used for a copy room, and we're changing it into educational space, and we have to get approval for that as well. We went over the status of summer projects. The major projects that went on this summer are the HVAC projects that were done at Bay Shore and High School South. Those were our VETRA projects, grant funded. They are substantially complete, including some of the ceiling and lighting replacements at High School South that we were planning on doing next summer in the second phase, but we did do some of it this summer on the second floor. New Monmouth Media Center is ongoing after approvals of the work by the DOE and getting our architect plans in place. We will be proceeding on that project during the school year. We're going to be able to do that while school's in session. And also, Mr. Nasser, our facilities director, gave us an update on summer cleaning. Then all buildings were on schedule to be ready for school opening. We did allocate some additional staff to buildings that had summer programs in order to allow them to catch up. We also talked about the Harmony Playground project. We are working with Mr. Paulson on the scope of the project, and we anticipate that we'll have a scope and be able to move forward with that in the next few months and get that moving. We did get grant funding for that as well. We also talked about health insurance related items. There are items on the agenda for the renewal of Aetna as our third party administrator and our pharmacy benefit manager for the upcoming year. The contract will run from September 1st to June 30th. We will get back on a fiscal cycle after that. We'll start hopefully 7/1 then to June 30th going forward. We do have a proposal that should result in projected net savings of about $162,000 for this year. We are going to continue to look for prescription programs that may even result in more savings to the district in the future, but we did make some headway this year in the area of getting more rebates back on the prescription plan that we have. We also talked about there is an application or an announcement of an application that just came out for stabilization aid for the 23-24 year. We were successful last year in putting an application and getting stabilization aid of $1.9 million. So we will definitely be working on putting another application in for this year, and those are due on October 6th. So the board will be able to approve our application at the September meeting in order for us to meet that deadline. We did not mention this in the meeting, but I did want to inform the board that we were notified that we had received the Certificate of Excellence for Financial Reporting from the Association of School Business Officials. That's the International Association for our 21-22 Comprehensive Financial Report. It does lag a bit especially with the extended deadlines now on our financial reports. We just submitted our 21-22 report, or 22-23 report is in progress now. But we, the deadlines just keep flowing. It's like it's a year-long process. So this is the 11th year that the district has received this award. It involves a review by people going over all of our disclosures and so forth. It's good to have people going out for a bond issue, and it lends just more credibility to our financial statements. It shows that we disclosed everything and everything is in order to a high standard. So I'd like to thank everyone in the business office for that. And that's it.
Thank you, Ms. Doherty. We're gonna now head to policy, Mr. Bachelor, Mr. Fitzpatrick.
I don't know how.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. We had our last policy meeting on August 9th. As a result, we have policy on bullying 5512 that's on for a first read tonight. We will be incorporating the principal's preliminary determination. Prior to the investigation, the principal and the anti-bullying specialist can make a preliminary determination as to whether a reported incident or a complaint is a report within the scope of the HID law. If not, it will be addressed through the code of conduct. That is up for first read. Also, policy and regulation 2419, school threat assessment teams. That has to be adopted tonight after one read, as we are required by law to put this into place prior to the beginning of the school year. This requires us to establish threat assessment teams in every school building. So that will be on for a first read and an adoption.
Thank you. Ms. Kennedy, there's no co-curricular.
There was co-curricular,
Okay.
and that will be the.
I can do We had our meeting on August 10th, and during that meeting, we discussed the following topics. The committee discussed the possibility of adding a unified cheerleading program for the upcoming basketball season. Mr. Carroll gave a fall sports season update. As of the date of the meeting, there were 11 new head coaches at the two high schools: cheerleading, South cheerleading, North cheerleading, North girls volleyball, North boys basketball, South boys basketball, South girls basketball, South wrestling, South indoor track, and North boys volleyball, all new coaches. Football participation is up at both schools with just under 230 student athletes between the two schools. All of the sports started for the fall on August 21st. The committee discussed the possibility of installing a video scoreboard at each high school stadium. Questions were asked regarding the potential loss of money for elementary school PFAs. We're going to continue to investigate different financial options. We will be facilitating our 6th grade transition mentor program in all 3 of our middle schools this year. The purpose of the program is to foster positive relationships between staff members and recommended students in order to inspire those students to reach their highest full potential, all while building connections to the school community and their peers throughout their middle school years. We had this program at Thompson last year. It was extremely successful. We're excited to expand it to all 3 middle schools. There were also conversations related to homeschool students participating in athletics and co-curricular activities. At the time of the meeting's conclusion, there was not consensus to move forward with that, with homeschool students participating. Also, we reviewed our Girls in Motion guide, which was created by our supervisor of school counseling and mental health services. And that guide is being shared with our new advisors for the program, and they'll be trained on implementation within the coming weeks.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Kirkpatrick. Do not go too far, because for the technology, Mr. Heffernan, and I need you to speak about that as well.
I don't think so.
No, sadly.
I hope not.
That's why I should speak on that.
Oh, technology.
Yeah,
I thought you were referring to the co-curriculars.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
We didn't include technology in the co-curricular meeting this month. It was just athletics and co-curriculars.
Technology didn't need to.
Perfect. Well, there was Jumbotron.
No report.
We're talking about the Jumbotron.
That's there.
All right, fair enough.
Thank you.
On now, we're going to Okay, we're now gonna open up up to public comment on agenda items only. For public comment, please step forward, state your name and address for the record. Agenda items only.
Hi, my name is Belinda Reed, and we live in Pittsburgh in Middletown. And I want to first thank you all for listening to myself and other persons moving forward at last week's meeting. I want to thank Jacqueline Tobacco for going above and beyond to show that she does genuinely care about every child in the town. I want to thank you for informing us and helping us understand what the board's concerns are. I am surprised and disappointed that the co-curricular committee may come to consensus as it was stated. I responded to each of the concerns that was shared with me, and I have received no input or feedback on either one. From my vantage point, the conversation has just begun. There are so many unanswered questions. One of the concerns was the liability issue. As our lawyer looked into the liability issue, the Hillsborough Board of Ed lawyer did, and saw that there was no added risk to the district that allows homeschooling. And I'm certain that every other neighboring district and district in the state that is homeschooling access to sports and to clubs found the same thing. And there were many other responses that we did back. There was no response to anything else. So I feel that saying that there was no consensus is just ending the conversation prematurely. I feel like the conversation has just begun. I feel like as a member of this community, as a citizen in this community, as a parent in the Middletown, I deserve to know where each board member stands on a cause that impacts and matters to my family and to my children, and to be anything short of that doesn't seem right with there. Many of my boys' homeschooling friends and peers are in districts that do allow them to try out for homeschooling and participate in the school club. And that's what I want for my children. I want them to have the same choice that their peers have. And I want this elected board to be transparent. And I want to understand where each individual board member stands on this topic. And I think anything short of that is not good. No, can I ask a question? Can I ask you something? Yes. You said about being transparent. Can you tell me, how do you know that you're not in our meeting? I'm sorry? How do you know what was discussed in our meeting?
Not just reported out on it.
You tell all
Not
that?
just reported out on it.
No. She wrote to us prior to this. The bullet points. Wanted to know our concerns, but we haven't discussed our concerns as a board. So that's why I'm asking you, talk about transparency. Can you tell me how you know that?
I can,
Jackie, you weren't at our meeting.
sorry, what?
You weren't at that meeting.
No, I'm not doing, I just wanted to just clarify one thing for the parents that don't understand the process of the board, and Kristen speaks as well. So you might not have heard back yet, because the board just heard the report out from co-curricular. So we're just getting that information now, and we are, once it doesn't move out of committee, there's only 4 people on the committee, so that this is how, and I know we've spoken, I tried to explain to you like how the process works, because it's not as simple as a conversation with one person or anything like that, but we are, all the rest of the board is just getting this information now that it did not move from co-curricular. If it did move from co-curricular, I think what we did accept the move to policy, which would, I would have been the chair of policy and gotten that, but it doesn't mean, I don't think necessarily that any of us feel like, I can't speak, I don't know, I was at the meeting, I'm just getting information now, but I feel terrible because I know it's a very emotional topic, and I don't think anyone, I don't want to speak for everyone, I don't think anyone here is necessarily 100% against something like this. I think it's just a process. And so, there's an opportunity for another committee, I guess, to pick it up the policy on the motion or something, but at this point, that's just what the process is. So you're you're talking about being upset that we didn't receive information back, but they cannot give you information until the whole board gets it. So
It sounds like the consensus was to no longer discuss it.
well, it didn't move from curriculum.
So the co-curricular doesn't have to share the reasons why. There was no consensus or the reason why the four members of the co-curricular committee chose not to continue.
They're not required to. They made a decision that they consider a lot of different things. That's one of the things that they talked about, and they decided not to move on it. Like Mr. Tobacco said, that doesn't mean another committee might not, just because co-curricular didn't act on it, doesn't mean it can be.
So Frank, it was 2 and 2. What did you say as president of the board of ed?
So I'm not going to speak on this because obviously in the committee, it seems like if it goes to another committee, I would have wanted that vote. So it would be fair to me to really say in public where I would vote because they're going back to the committee, everybody would be aware of that.
So what are the rules of a deadlock in the subcommittee? What are the rules of a deadlock?
First, I just want to say, I mean, we're kind of getting into like a discussion here, and it's really just public comment on agenda items only. But generally, under Robert's rules of order, when something's deadlocked, means it does not pass. That's the general.
So you just keep knocking and keep passing.
All I can say is if there's a committee of 4 and it's 2-2, then the item doesn't move forward.
Keep asking.
Thank you, Mr.
Good evening, everyone. Today I would like to discuss how homeschool should be able to participate in extracurricular activities. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Emma Plum. I am a 12-year-old competitive gymnast and will be entering 7th grade this fall. I recently moved to Middletown from Bergen County, where I was able to participate in extracurricular activities. I have many friends who live in my neighborhood, and the one thing I can change about Middletown is the homeschool right. I strongly believe homeschoolers should have access to school activities due to the fact that our parents contribute to the schools. I would like to participate in high school gymnastics to increase my chances of getting a scholarship to the University of Oklahoma. On top of gymnastics, one of my strengths is public speaking, which is why I would love to join the debate team. When I am older, my hopes and dreams is to become someone important in this country. In order to succeed, I need to be given the same opportunity as others. Thank you for your patience and your time.
Thank you.
That was a very, can I just jump in and I'll leave it to the discretion of the board? There are 2 opportunities for public comment here. The first one really is on just things the board are going to vote on, so they can vote and get the business out of the way. And I didn't want to cut her off because you spoke very eloquently, and I know it's probably intimidating and scary for adults, let alone children. You did a great job. I'm really impressed. So I didn't want to jump in when you started to speak, but the normal process is the board hears comments on things they're going to vote on, and then they vote, and then there's a second opportunity where the public can speak on anything they want. So.
Are you the last speaker?
Yes. Colleen Swanson, Dave Flame is a partner. I just want to say I think it's very disappointing not to move forward with minor change in policy. There are many surrounding school districts who have found a way. Hometown found a way, Wall found a way, Brumston, there's a whole list I'm forgetting right now, but Middletown, I think we can find a way. I think it's very disappointing because honestly, this should be a minor policy change. It's just the right thing to do. I know homeschoolers. I've been homeschooling 11 years. I've lived in Middletown my entire life. And I'm just going to be completely honest with you, even if you made this policy change, which is the right thing to do, I don't actually know a single student who's homeschooled who would go out for sports this year. It would have very little impact. The point is, it's just the right thing to do. To allow tax-paying citizens who have students who live in the district and have no alternative option. We have alternative options for other activities, for all kinds of organizations, library, clubs, parks, all kinds of things we can do, but sports, trying out for sports teams at the high school level, our kids in Middletown are deprived of this opportunity, and I think that is sad and wrong and disappointing. We can do better in Middletown.
Thank you.
So you said it can go to another committee. Would that be an option? You said there's a co-curricular committee, but.
It can if someone makes a motion to bring it to another committee.
So would that information be available to us? Like what committees are those? and how would we do that?
When you guys come to board meetings, you only have the agenda, like, those are all the committees, everything that's listed are the committees. So if the process would have been, if co-curricular would have said there was enough of a consensus in that meeting to move forward, the next committee automatically would have had to go to would have been policy, because this involves multiple policies in the school that have to be.
But you said it's not dead, so
Well,
how is
you
that?
guys, like, nothing's ever dead. Anybody can, bring something back up. There's not, like, I don't false. I don't want to give false hope, and I don't want to, I don't give false hope, I don't want to give false,
Okay,
no, to all the hope right here, but where things go, and
Yeah.
how they would have been the next natural process, and it's a long process too. It wouldn't have been as easy as
very
curriculum would
complicated.
have pushed it forward and said, I think if we had a consensus that it was enough to move forward, that still wouldn't have been a vote. Like, I know that
Right.
some of you guys thought tonight.
It would go to policy,
There's
yeah, no, I
vote,
didn't.
and so it's still a very long process. It certainly would never have been able to happen for the beginning.
Right, I understood that, yeah, I know it's
Yeah.
very complicated.
Right.
As I said, other districts have found a way, and we do have answers to all the concerns. So as Belinda said, if it was presented back to us, these were the reasons why we couldn't reach a consensus, we would be happy to respond and move forward with it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else like to, agenda item only? What's your name and address for the record? Thank you.
Sharon Peasy at Pelican Road in Middletown. I wanted to ask a question about the partnership with Kingsburg, the law enforcement program, and I read also there's like some type of partnership with the behavioral disability class.
My understanding is this is something that's been going on for a long time. We're just like memorializing it, but Jeff can, the cell phone.
Yeah, so it's been in effect since 2016. We entered into this reciprocal agreement. At the time, when that agreement was originally created, we did not have widespread placements within our own district. So certainly Kingsburg has a more robust behavioral disabilities program. We don't often tap into that. Occasionally, there may be lack of space in our high school programming where we may send or other programs. We do have, obviously, only a few sections of those that are running, but certainly since that original inception of that agreement, we have expanded our services significantly. Yeah, it's a renewal. This is a renewal of something that has been in existence. We did have the attorney re-review it to make sure that the, our liability piece was in order. Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to make a public comment? No further hands. We're going to move on. Right, so for my update, I just want to wish everybody well for the upcoming school year once again. Here we are, 23-24 school year. And wish all the best to the children, teachers, the staff members, and hopefully have much success this year. We're going to move to Mrs. Alphone, the superintendent's update.
Great. So I will echo that.
Mrs. Alphone, if you could just do the next time the board secretary's monthly certification before that, and just saying that we are certifying our July 31st, 23 board secretaries and servers on 21 and their accounts that have over or exceeded the line of deviations in violation of New Jersey administrators.
Hey, I don't know where you are, just by the way.
We're on the 7th.
Oh, I skipped ahead. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
You skipped the page.
Now,
You can continue on if you like.
rewind.
I skipped
Okay.
Apologies.
It's a new format. I know, everybody's.
Yes, and Mike's on.
All right. So I will echo that. Here we are on the eve almost of school beginning again. Yesterday, we had our freshman orientations at High School North and High School South. We had a fantastic turnout with our classes of 2027. And our administrators and some of our staff members were there to welcome parents and students to those buildings. So it was great to see, our incoming freshmen. They were very excited, a little nervous, but, by the time they left, they were masters, so I think they're in good shape. Today, we welcome back our staff to the district, always a really exciting day. Our welcome back faculty meetings took place, and staff members got to collaborate with their colleagues and certainly participate in some professional development. There was just an extremely positive vibe starting the school year. I think the staff is really, really excited to welcome students back, and certainly will be ready next week when our doors open on Tuesday. I also just want to take a moment to thank our custodial staff, our maintenance staff, our grounds crew, because they really, really do a lot of heavy work in the summer to turn those buildings over, not only in projects, but they also have the responsibility of cleaning those buildings, waxing the floors, and they are operating around summer programs that are running. So they are hustling all summer long, and certainly have done a great job in getting our buildings ready to open next week. Thank you to our administrators for all the work that they have done. That is also a heavy lift because they're building schedules, doing class placements, and getting things up and running, particularly this year with our transition to the Genesis platform. So I want to thank them. I want to thank staff members. I mean, obviously, many of our staff members come in during the summer to spend additional time in their classrooms, and then finish that up as we get closer to the start of the school year. And then thank you to the Board of Ed. What turned out to be a year of, we didn't think we were going to hire a lot of people, turned into a year of a lot of hiring, and certainly they are part of that process in approving those recommendations that I make. So thank you to them. And on Tuesday, again, we welcome back students, and it's the reason why we're all here. That will bring a whole nother level of energy and excitement, and certainly our teachers and the rest of our staff will be ready for that. On Friday, you will get, the community will get another video message from me, and this one will be very focused on outlining initiatives for the school year, so that way you can kind of have that mile-high perspective of all the things that are going on, from new communication channels that we're establishing to curricular initiatives, special education initiatives, and initiatives out of the student services department. So that we'll look for that on Friday, and there will also be some other attachments in there that I will put in there for your information so that you have everything in one spot. But all of this will also be archived on the newly created superintendent's page on the website, so you'll always have a home base to go back and get those things, so you don't have to sift through your emails. It's my pet peeve as a parent myself. I need a spot to go back to. So again, we wish all of you an outstanding start to the school year, and we can't wait to see your students and your children back here next week. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Apple.
You're welcome.
Okay, and I need a motion to approve 7A, 1 through 3.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? I need a motion to approve 8A and 8B, minutes of 7/26/23 in exec and regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? I need a motion to approve, no, Amy, I'm going to hand it over now to you, the board secretary monthly certification.
Well, since we already did that. Noted, right? Item C, report of the business administrator board secretary was action. So back to you.
Okay, motion to approve 9C, 1 through 3.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion to approve 9D, group 1 through 4. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
I'm voting yes only on the unfounded yes.
A no on 2.
I'm sorry. Actually, I vote.
Yeah, one.
I'm a no on 2.
This is back in normal.
Oh, yeah, me too. Why is it first of all?
I know this is more symbolic.
It's symbolic.
We are required by law to have this virtual plan, or just?
I'm actually not sure what happened.
Yeah, I can expand on it. So, we are required to have a virtual or remote plan. That does not mean that we will ever have to use that remote or virtual plan. So, it is, in my opinion, a matter of compliance at this point, not action. So, we do have to do that as a requirement.
So I know Ms. Ari, I may know onto this one. Moving on to 10A, motion to approve.
So,
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? Motion to approve 10B, 1 through 6.
so
Second.
Discussion, all in favor? Opposed, abstentions? We have 10C, 1 through 5, motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? Moving on to 10D, 1 and 2.
So
Discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstentions? Curriculum, we have 10E, 1 through 7. Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? We have 10G, 1, motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstentions? Amy, you got 10F, 1 through 6, correct? Oh, 1 through 3.
Yes.
Okay. Personnel, we need a motion to approve 10I, 1 through 10.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? Made a motion to approve 11.
So
Second.
Amy, can I get a roll call on 11?
Mrs. Kaminsky.
You need a vote on that one, or?
Aye.
This is a vote for Mr. Roberts and Ted White.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Mrs. Farley.
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Mr. Heffernan.
Yes.
Mrs. Mooney. Yes. Mr. Tull.
Yes.
Mrs. Wright.
Yes.
Mrs. Tobacco. Yes. Mr. Control.
Yes, and congratulations, Mrs. Santabelli. We have a motion to approve 10I-12.
So second.
This is already a roll call when you're ready.
Mrs. Kaminsky.
Yes.
Mrs. Farley.
Yes.
Mr. Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Mr. Heffernan.
Yes.
Mrs. Mooney.
With excitement, yes.
Mr. Tull.
Yes.
Mrs. Wright.
Yes.
Mrs. Tobacco.
Yes.
Mr. Control.
Yes, and congratulations, Mrs. White.
I was hesitant because we have a new agenda. I don't want you to think it was the person. I was like, what am I voting on here?
That's not what she told me earlier.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to both of you, yes. Okay, the motion to approve 10I, 13 through 19.
So moved. Second.
Discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstentions? Now we are moving to old business.
I don't really have a lot.
All right, all right,
You can't do it, right?
So I don't really have a lot, so I'll wait for now.
you got it.
Just
I
say
think,
them.
I think what I have is kind of old business, right? I'm not just voted on it, but we just talked about the virtual learning plan. I just wanted to say, I know I received some feedback from people in the community who were concerned to see this on the agenda. As Mrs. Osborne explained, this is a legal requirement that the Department of Education has placed on districts. Personally, very opposed, that's why I voted no, even though we kind of don't really have a choice. But I would just encourage anyone in the community who's as upset by this continued obligation as I am, to, reach out to the Department of Education, your legislators, and, that maybe as a board, we could also discuss whether there's something we can do with, other districts in Monmouth County or, throughout the state. I think basically everyone can agree that virtual learning was a huge failure, and if we, God forbid, have something happen again where we have to close schools, virtual learning is not the path that we want to go down, so I do not want to have a virtual learning plan that's available for us to use. So I think we need to try to figure out a different solution.
Just one quick thing, I just want to procedurally do this, because I did not say addendum after the personnel. So this is to approve the addendum, so if I can just make a motion to approve all the addendum items as well.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions. Okay, we can move on to more old business. New business.
There's a lot of exciting events going on in the beginning of the year, sporting events, school events, back to school nights, so I'm looking forward to attending and seeing all the good things that are put in place for the start of the school year. I encourage anyone out there to get involved in what's going on in your district, and you won't be disappointed. I think we're off to a great start.
And I'd like to wish the incoming students good luck this year. This upcoming year.
One thing, Frank, Frank or Bruce, tell me, I'm interested in keeping the conversation going about the clubs, sports, so can I make that motion, or?
I was just about to chair policy.
I was gonna say, I'm a chair of a committee, but I don't think it's the right.
Right, yeah, no, yeah, so I think I don't think I need an official motion, but I think I'd like to keep the discussions open about sports. And we will, as I'm chair of policy, so we will bring it back to a policy meeting, and we will continue to discuss it, so. Thank you so much. No promises, but we'll discuss, okay? The lines of communication. And I'd love just to thank you, because I want you all to know, like, we really do care, and it's not anybody, nothing personal, but there's just a lot of things considering a big district like this and limited funding. There's a lot, and so we will take it back to the policy committee and have those continue to discuss, okay? Thank you.
One more, yes.
I think that's it.
There's one more thing I want to announce, and I did not receive the official paperwork, but it is for sure the NJSBA, I believe, gave a award to Ms. Minuit and Ms. Aminiti for how their years of service, of public service here as board of ed members, I believe it was 22 years ago, and Ms. Kennedy was 15 years. So big round of applause.
Almost a quarter century.
Anyone else for new business? Okay, we're going to now open the microphone up for public comment. We have a 30-minute limit. Please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, we're at 1680 Boulevard. First of all, real quick, because we need guys to do 100% support of these programs in the state and sports in Middletown. So I hope that there's something that we can figure out here. But despite of that, what I'm really here is that a lot of us were extremely disappointed with Judge Bauman's decision regarding the amendment to proposed policy 5756. And truly from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank all of the board members here who voted to amend that policy, along with Ms. Alphone, who has publicly let the community of Middletown know that you are in support of parental rights. There are so many parents that are in support of this, and we ask you that you continue this fight. We do not let this continue, and I'm just extremely grateful to have all of you on our side. I know that this has been tremendously hard, but I think we can all agree that parental involvement is critical to the success of all of our children. And then just quickly, thank you, Kate, for addressing the virtual program. I understand that it's a requirement of the state to get funding, but if there is anything that we can do as a town, superintendents can be better than the county, the state, to just reinforce the virtual learning to not. It failed my son, who is in first grade at the time, and my daughter is going into first grade. And
with all the talk that's happening right now, I have a fear, and I think it's a executive fear, that this could happen again. And I am not going to let it happen again. And what I can say right now is never put a mask on a child again, ever again. So just want to say thank you for acknowledging that this is something that we do have to do, but anything that we can do to eliminate that. Perfect. Thank you.
State your name and address for the record.
My name is Terry Khan. I live on 37 Broadmoor Drive in Lincroft. I have children in Middletown School District for the past 14 years because I do put children first. I held chair positions in Lincroft, Concord, and South Schools. I do want to thank you, Ms. Farley, and I want to acknowledge what you have done for this board and what you've done in terms of saying no to virtual learning because it doesn't work. What I also want to talk about is there was a public education coalition made on an Oprah request asking for the text request of a BOE member at the 620 board meeting. At that meeting, hundreds of people were pleading over a new policy in the teacher transfer. So it was a very, very important meeting. The response was that the texts weren't business related, they were personal. That same BOE member bullied four of my friends to get my cell phone number, and then once she got it, blew up my phone on July 24th with several unsolicited messages trying to deter parents from coming to the July meeting as teacher transfer wasn't on the agenda. So there was nothing for parents to advocate for. So how is it tolerated, especially by someone who claims to put children first? This is my question. And what action will be taken against this behavior? That's my question.
Well, there's no action being taken because there was no wrongdoing. I read the text messages, you responded. I'm not sure what you mean by bullying, but if you're upset, this is the second meeting now you've commented on that. If you're upset about someone giving your phone number out, I'd be upset at that person.
I am upset at that person. But I was also wondering, especially because this Oprah request was asked for the text messages.
And it was responded to.
Right, that they wanted to. Right. So
I'd like to answer them. I am a POFP member. I'm also a volunteer. And you don't have a right to any communication between myself and my autistic son. But thank you for continuing to attack me over it. I really think it's a very, no, my communicating with my autistic son, you're asking for text during a meeting, and it's really none of your business. You continue to attack me personally, and I'm a volunteer like everyone else, and I have a family that I have to attend to. So I hope that shuts down comments and the over requests.
I also have an autistic son, Mrs. Tobacco, and I have.
There's no relevance to that right now.
Well, I don't
You're not
understand why you're bringing it up.
attacked.
I've never talked to your autistic son.
Oh my gosh.
Ma'am, that's not what she said. If you actually listen to what she said, I think she's kind of saying to the public, she's revealing personal information that she was texting her autistic son during the meeting, so it was a personal matter because he was upset about her being attacked.
Okay. No one's attacking her at the meeting. That's right.
I'm sorry.
There's no talking to the audience. This conversation's over now. If you have any other comments to make, that's it. We're not having a back and forth about personal matters.
And something totally different. So should I ask that question now or should I wait?
Ask it now because people don't get a second chance generally to come up.
So I'm also head of the SNAP stand at South, and I talked to Mr. Capone about this. There is, that's actually a hazard. It's a bunch of driveway material that's just all broken up. So I've actually, at the Thanksgiving game last year, had to give out 6 Band-Aids to kids. So I'm really concerned that that's not going to be fixed. So how do we address that, and who do we address that?
I'm going to stop you right there. I apologize. Amy, that was the email I sent over to you about that. So it was already addressed for administration. They will look into that.
So it is in the document. Okay, thank you.
Hi, Michelle Collins, Minnesota, New Jersey. I'm here on behalf of community member Barrett Steele, 61 Quincy Court, Red Bank, to read his statement. Ladies and gentlemen, it is understandable that parents worry about their children's safety and security as they go about doing the job of parenting, which will ultimately make them unnecessary in the future lives of their children. Successful parents know when they have accomplished the roles they undertook by becoming parents. One of the most difficult problems parents face is when to back away and let children find their own way around obstacles to their growth. In terms of the Board of Education's stated opposition to the state education policy of keeping the wishes of children who are in the process of discovering their sexual identities confidential, the Board of Education president said, quote, "Wouldn't you want to know if your child is struggling with their identity?" The answer to that question presupposes that parents have built a respectful and trusting relationship with their children. If that is the case, children who fear the adverse reactions of parents would be right in asking for confidentiality from the school. Children involved in self-discovery within the sheltering environment that schools provide have every right to expect their wishes to be granted. Modern medicine recognizes that some children grow up knowing that the gender of their birth does not match the gender they should be. Until the option to transition into another gender became medically possible, only people with this problem with gender mismatching recognized that their lives were truly unfulfilled. If the aim of education is to prepare students with the essentials to understand the world in which they will need to interact successfully and equip them to know themselves for who they are, then students are entitled to privacy while engaged in self-discovery such as this. Finally, the board's notification policy places teachers in a precarious position of jeopardizing the trust students have and the respect of their teachers. In 18 years of teaching high school students to read with discernment and write effectively, I found their writing revealed much of their character and internal struggles. Teachers should never be required to disclose the private thoughts of students expressed in writing or verbalized in their conversations. Aristotle said, quote, "Those who educate children well are more to be honored than they who produce them, for these only give them life, those the art of living well." That's Mr. Teal's statement, and I'm requesting that my time be restarted for my own comment.
We don't do that, ma'am. You took the 3 minutes to make that comment.
Yes, because he has a medical issue where he cannot speak for himself and you refuse to allow virtual participation, so he needed someone to come and be his voice.
Okay, under those circumstances, then you didn't explain that when you first came out.
Well, I didn't think I needed to let you know why he couldn't speak. That's personal information.
No, you need to let the board know that you're not speaking on your behalf, but for someone else, and that there's a reason why, because several...
I did.
Can I finish? Without being interrupted, several times people come up and try to read statements of other people. They can do that, but that counts towards their time. Under this circumstance, to accommodate for the disability, we will allow them.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that. I attended the June DOE meeting and asked a bunch of questions which went unanswered. One of which was, what will happen to staff if they refuse to violate the law and their professional oath by outing students to their parents? Will they be fired by the DOE? Also, where will students be housed if they are kicked out of their home upon this unlawful disclosure from staff? And how will they receive future counseling in this circumstance? I then sent an email to admin which went unanswered with various other questions. I followed up after a week and got this response from the acting superintendent, Jessica Alphone. Quote, "We are in receipt of your email. Thank you for sharing your comments." I'd like to share some thoughts and questions again as I still have not received answers. I'm sure you are aware that 2 members of the Middletown BOE, as well as the BOE attorney, Bruce Padula, recently appeared on Fox and Friends to represent Middletown School District regarding the harmful amendment to the trans policy that you all support. Tobacco and Capone are also all over Twitter posting video footage and propaganda. Tobacco then reposted tweets from Moms for Liberty, a known hate and anti-government organization. This is embarrassing and disgraceful that this is allowed as a New Jersey State BOE member. And it is deceitful for them to say they represent all of Middletown. Tobacco said, "We believe the majority of Middletown thinks like we do on this issue. The hundreds of students, parents, and experts who came to try to educate you all, and many were then censored and shut out of speaking at the June meeting, would suggest otherwise." Capone said, quote, "We have a governor who is consistently putting politics ahead of children. He's a lame duck governor to begin with, and the legislators on both sides of the aisle really need to wake up here and take charge." This is super ironic for him to say, as he has consistently been putting politics ahead of children since he was elected 3 years ago. As a reminder, the BOE is supposed to be nonpartisan. In addition, why is Jessica Alphone's first message to parents before she even took over on June 29th to inform them that she vehemently disagrees with the Attorney General's argument that the amendment is discriminatory? Taxpayers are paying your salary, and you choose to use our money to fight state policies that this DOE and you personally disagree with. It should be noted that years of research from experts from the LGBT community have found that these state policies are necessary to protect transgender students. Why do you think you know better than these experts? In your letter, you also vowed to update the community on any further developments. Where is the follow-up letter with Judge Bauman's ruling that the injunction stay in place because the amended policy is discriminatory? Is it the job of the Middletown School District and DOE to appear on right-wing entertainment networks representing our district? This is disgusting and a sad legacy for Middletown that you were leaving. Middletown used to be a desirable school system to work for. That cannot be said anymore. In the recent ruling from Judge Bauman, in which he ordered for the injunction on this policy to remain in place, he stated, the court also finds that the state has demonstrated a reasonable probability of success on its claim that the amended policies of parental notification will unlawfully subject these students to disparate impact in violation of the law against discrimination.
3 minutes and I have to stop right there. And just for the record, I do represent the majority of Middletown.
No, you don't.
Have a good day. Thank you.
Yes, he does. No, he doesn't.
Would anyone else like to make a public comment?
Okay, we'll see you in November.
Wait, I thought we could speak twice.
No,
I thought we could speak twice.
we gotta go through everybody else, and normally people will get a chance to come back up again. But I do want to clarify for the record, a couple misstatements that were made, that the policy does not require any teacher to notify a parent, and if anyone looked at the regulations that were filed in the court documents, how the policy planned to be implemented, there was a careful process on how the notification would occur and the circumstances under which it would, and who would make that notification. So to respond to that misinformation that was brought up, there would not have be any teacher, and it's not outing students. There's specific circumstances when the student affirmatively and unilaterally decides to change a mandated student record, which gender is a mandated student record, is one of the conditions when parental notification is triggered. Confidential discussions with teachers on confiding what a student's feelings are, or with counselors, etc., does not trigger a parental notification. That is misinformation. It is simply not true, and it's been said over and over by several people here in the media, even by the Attorney General. That is not true. That is not what the policy says.
Hi, you may begin. Just your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, hi. My name is Victoria Surgent, and I am the New Jersey chapter leader of Gays Against Groomers. Now, we are here tonight to address the gross misrepresentation of Policy 5756. Now, the state would like us to believe that this policy is killing kids. They want us to believe that parents are so vile and cruel that they will beat their children if they ever suspected that they were transgender. Now, simply put, New Jersey wants to take away parental rights just because they do not believe that we can take care of our own children. Somehow, they think that they know our own kids better than we do, and our kids need to be protected from us. Now, there's been an ongoing false narrative that children are afraid to come out to their parents, so they come out to their school. Now, while I do not doubt this might have happened on a few rare occasions, the fact remains that a child has no greater support than its parents at home. Now, parents must be kept in the loop for the necessary guidance, support, and protection that their child requires, especially during their formative years. Now, the act of informing parents when a child is transitioning is not just a matter of respect of parental rights. It's a matter of respect for the child's well-being. Gender dysphoria can be complex and emotionally charged. Now, let's be honest here. There's an alarmingly high suicide rate in this demographic. Parents need to be involved in the process to ensure that children have a strong support system. Why on earth would anyone want to alienate children from their parents, especially during such a difficult time of their lives? Now, there needs to be an open line of communication, not only with the parent and child, but with the school and the parent. No one has a deeper understanding of child's history, experiences, and vulnerabilities than his or her parents. We applaud you for choosing a policy of open communication rather than a policy based on lies and deceit. Adults should not be keeping secrets for children. As we said in the past, any adult that keeps his child secret has no business being near children. I'll say right now that I can only dream that when my child is old enough to attend high school, she will have a board of education that fights as strongly for kids as you do. All eyes are on you now. Other school districts are anxiously awaiting the turnout of your civil division case. But this is not over. We need to keep up the good fight. Gays Against Groomers, while advocating for the rights and acceptance of LGBT individuals, believes in the balance between individual freedoms and community safety. It is from this standpoint that we affirm our unwavering support for policy 5756, which we believe strikes this balance appropriately. Keep up the great work.
Mr. President, I just wanted to clarify one thing that in relation to the last speaker, I noticed that she did leave. I do want to read, since she cited or attempted to cite the court's opinion, I want to read from the court's conclusion, and this is a quote, "The court is not rendering any final judgments or determinations as to the merits of either the state or the school board's claims, period," close quote, in the court's conclusion. Thank you, Mr. Bureau.
Kelly, I own Kingfisher Drive, Middletown. I am the unfortunate person who gave Jackie tobacco Mrs. Connie's phone number. I can't even believe I have to get up here and clear this up. It's so petty and childish. So Mrs. Connie keeps insisting on saying that Mrs. Tobacco told people not to come to the meeting. Because of how crazy it went, I did ask Jackie, after I gave her the number, oh my God, what happened? So I have the text message. And this was from Terry. I did screenshot and send your text to several others who are supporting Tony Alfano. One of the questions asked was, one of the questions asked was, are you, but basically saying, keeping everyone away from the board meeting. This was the response. Oh no, everyone is free to come to the board meeting. I just wanted to clear up the confusion. The board can vote on agenda items only, and Mrs. Alfano is not on the agenda. I feel it was very important for this to be on the record, that this is untrue, what was being said.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I just ask you to remind everyone to keep the background talking down when other speakers are talking, because we could hear it up front, it's kind of distracting and distracts from the speaker.
On the video.
Hi, my name is Julie Donahue. I am resident of Oak Hill Road in Lodi, and I have a child in the Middletown school system. I was here at the June 20th meeting, and I spoke to the cell phone. Video didn't work. Okay. I wanted to just express my support for the decision, and also to say how disappointed I am that the board was so fiscally irresponsible as to take on a fight that they knew was coming. Person after person got up and said there'll be lawsuits, and that money started spent on our children, and I'm really disappointed that that wasn't considered. I have been really disappointed also, sitting in that meeting and hearing person after person speak and give emotional testimony to them, and hearing people chanting outside, to then see you guys on Fox sometimes saying that everyone was in support. It was like as if everybody was on mute too, and you weren't hearing what so many people, parents, were saying. And I think as a board, your elected officials, who at least can acknowledge that not everybody agrees with you. The last thing I want to say is not about that. I think that, even though I think it's a tremendous waste of money that could have gone elsewhere, but I think it was to win a popularity contest, honestly. I know that is important. But I'm also wondering about this most recent vote about not having a virtual plan. I got it. Look, my daughter was in kindergarten, and she did not learn to write on Zoom. It has been a struggle. I get that it had flaws. But what's the plan? If we're already voting no to not have a plan,
Yeah, and I know.
you've been interrupting everybody.
I have not.
Listen,
Ma'am, I just want to
that's
clarify.
fine, but you've been talking a lot, and you get 30 minutes of public comment.
Okay, but you know that's passed.
Can I finish a sentence?
Do you know that plan?
A minute ago, you said you wanted to finish a sentence when somebody spoke.
You're rude. I'm rude.
Yes.
A minute ago, he said something.
I'm sorry, Dad, continue on.
Ma'am, your question was about what is the plan actually passed. I just want to make sure you knew that during the course of your comments.
So tell me then, what is the plan? There's no, because
Can I finish my sentence?
Yes.
Just finish my sentence. That's all you asked, right?
Go ahead.
If the state is saying that this is something we have to have, then I don't understand why there would be a ceremonial vote for no. Because there has to be something in place. None of us predicted what was going to happen, and it was awful. And we all agree that there's got to be better things to do. So tell me, what is the plan if virtual is not?
There was a majority yes vote. Yes, that's what I was trying to tell you. The plan passed.
So what's the plan?
You can go on the agenda and look at it. It's online.
I can't understand the agenda. I'm not good enough. So can you explain it to me? You explain the whole process of the board meeting. So
I can
know
speak
you
to the process, but I didn't write the plan. That comes from the state.
I'm not speaking to
The board passed
No,
it.
you're the guy that talked the most in this meeting, but that's
I
not.
talked the most.
You have, you have.
I think
can
Mr.
speak to
Both
the
of them.
plan. I'll speak to the plan. So the virtual plan has a variety of components. It's broken down into how we continue the instructional components of our operation, our food service, maintaining our buildings in times where we may have an executive order of some type of shutdown. So it really just focuses on if we were to ever have someone dictate to us, because that's how it would come about, like, you know, and certainly that would be a fight, because I think all of us are of like-mindedness that didn't work. And, you know, we don't feel that's the best option, you know, in those situations at this point. However, that plan does outline, in theory, not in practice, I just want to clarify that, if there was ever a shutdown, how we would move those operations, both instructionally, building, food service, because like personnel, all of those things have to be jumped into the virtual environment. So we have to outline the steps that we would take to do that.
So the virtual, you passed the virtual plan. I know that. What I'm saying is there was a vote, a no vote about the virtual plan. So my question is, if you're going to vote no, then what is your plan if something happens? Right? You voted no.
It's irrelevant. The vote counts. It's irrelevant. It doesn't
It's not
matter.
relevant.
My point.
You represented.
My point in voting no was then when I talked about in old business, which is that I think that as a community, as a board, that a lot of what we need to come together and try to figure out what the plan is. I don't think that virtual should be an option.
So what
it
is-
did pass, so we've complied with the law, and it is what it is. And hopefully it'll never be a problem. But the point in voting no as a ceremonial vote, so it was going to pass, is to say to the community, as an elected official, and someone that I know, but I know that a lot of people feel this way, we need to figure something out. We need to go to the state and say, hey, guess what, DOE, this isn't gonna work. So if we have a shutdown again, we need to figure it out. Other essential businesses were kept open, so I think we need to look at it that way, that we're an essential business. These are my thoughts.
My point was just that to vote no, there should have been, I'm voting no because I think.
Well, I'm not as a
ABCD was
DOE,
better.
and I don't pass the laws, so I'm actually not in a position to say, instead of virtual learning, I'd like to do this.
Right.
If I could, I'm sorry, 3 minutes is up right now, so I apologize.
Okay,
you're the one who yelled it.
Okay. Just 2 things. On the virtual learning plan, before we scrap it, is there any possibility that that would be a basis if you were in a state of emergency, snow days, whatever?
So it really depends. So the use of the virtual plan, it would depend on what that executive order said, what the reason for the closure was, but as I found by living COVID, like all of you have, and I was a superintendent at the time in another district, most of what comes down from the state is a guideline.
Right.
So it gives us latitude in not shutting down. So it really will be situationally dependent. You know, we all hope that we'll never get to a position again where there's an executive order to shut down. Obviously, snow closures and other school emergencies, the actual law reads that it has to be more than 3 consecutive days in order to even enact a virtual plan. So some of those situations won't even meet that threshold. So, and that was put in place for attendance reasons, so we can meet the 180-day requirement.
Yeah.
And some places don't have snow days built into their calendar. So for us here, right, for us here, you know, we are confident that we will continue to have that latitude and things will be guidelines, and then certainly we will use, you know, our best expertise to put forward a plan that's certainly conducive to what the community feels.
I don't
is
think
important.
any of us want to go back to virtual,
No,
but
no.
if we can avoid, having our kids go to school into end of June, July,
Yeah,
first
yeah,
half, winter, or whatever, that a one-off, we could use virtual,
yeah, so,
if it's allowed.
yeah, and that's still up for debate at the state level. There hasn't, other than the more than 3 days,
Right.
but that's really more largely based on attendance, for attendance reasons than anything else. But the one-offs, I think there's still some divided opinion on that.
Okay, thank you. Also, I think I've been asking this now for a year, but is there a point in time that we can get an update on strategic planning? And we can start talking about class size and the items that this district and community identified as primary issues?
Yeah, so the last strategic plan update was, I believe, given back in 2021. I was not in the district at the time, but I did review that. COVID obviously has interrupted what we were doing as a very regular update. So I would say by mid-year this year, we'll do some type of community presentation as to where we stand with those action items in the strategic plan. And before you know it, this only goes through 2025. So after this year, we'll be looking to restart the new strategic planning process for the next 5 years.
Thank you. And I think there have been some good things that have been done on some of these.
Absolutely,
issues, so-
yes, lots of good stuff.
Yeah. Would anyone else like to make a public comment? Mr. Dean, yes, sir.
Mr. Rubio, 165 Bay Avenue, in Highlands, of the Sioux Middletown. Just something I want really the board, really the public to just consider is that some of the people who are attending these are folks who want to be Middletown residents. And I mean, right now, me and my girlfriend are pretty much deciding, I have to figure out where I'm going to buy money for a ring. So, but we're figuring out where we're going to start our family, and Middletown is high on the list because of what the board is doing to secure parents' rights and whatnot. It's really disheartening to look on Middletown groups and, on Facebook and to see people waste public comment time on text messages and on, oh, well, I don't understand the agenda. Well, you know what? You have eyes. You can read. I'm very impressed by the board being able to weather a lot of political pain and a lot of, other outside influence trying to influence an independent board and their democratic right to operate as such. But coming up here, wasting public comment time, going after board members and people on Facebook, especially when they're trying to communicate with their autistic son. I mean, do I actually want to move here? I don't know. I'll leave that all up to you guys, but I just want everybody to take into account that, other people are watching too about how we conduct ourselves. So take that for what it's worth.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jillian Kramer. I'm from Hamilton Hill Road in Prague. I just wanted to step up here. It's my first board meeting, so thanks for having me. I have been a student in the Middletown school system since kindergarten, so I really did my entire stretch. Except for high school, I did go to math, so I'm sorry I wasn't part of North or South, but I would have been South. I actually wanted to come up here because I am working for a new company lately called Insight Health, and I think they had been in communication with you guys prior. I don't know if Christopher Gata spoke to Dr. Kirkpatrick. I know you guys gave us a pretty hard no. Learning tonight that you guys did implement ESS is something where, I understand we're a fraction of the cost, and we literally cost a fourth the price, and we have an all-encompassing service that extends actually into the community. So it's not just students, but also staff and family can access care. This is not a pitch. I actually bring this up because I'm passionate about mental health, and I have so many friends who are in the Middletown School District. Even still, because I'm only 25, so there's still quite a few people still making their way through the ranks. And I know it's a problem issue, and sometimes it's a very quiet issue. So I definitely want to kind of reopen the conversation about just mental health in general, especially some of these new laws passing. I don't personally have an opinion on your decision. I think that's your business. This is mine. But I think just moving forward regardless, I think collaboration between administrators and parents should be more involved, and I understand also how difficult that can be. This is my first board meeting. I definitely understand now how difficult that can be. So I just want to very much say thank you for everything you do. Thank you for having me tonight. And Gary, if you have time to talk next week, let me know. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to make a public comment? Seeing no further hands up, I believe.
One second, I'll shoot off there. Michael Craig, right here in Middletown. For almost, this is in regards to 5756. For almost 100 years, the U.S. Supreme Court has recognized the traditional role of parents in directing the care, custody, and control of the minor child, of their minor children. In Wisconsin versus Yoda, the court declared that the parental rights have been established beyond debate as an enduring American tradition. Despite this, many government actors, agencies today are working overtime to substitute a parent's decision with the government worker's own view of what's best for a given child. From schools to hospitals to child welfare investigators, experts think they know what's best for your child better than you do. And while this has been going on for decades, we all have become painfully aware of it since the recent pandemic, when many learned for the first time just how much power the government wants to have over our children. I think we can agree on most fronts that no one knows a person's child better than their parent. So in this country, every single state has certain laws and ages of consent that are given for a child, when they deem the child becomes an adult, or when they have the rights to do certain things under the law. In the state of New Jersey, it's 18 to serve on jury. It's 17 to be a driver alone in an automobile. It's 21 to drink and buy alcohol. It's 18 to serve in the military. 18 to vote. 15, you could be tried as an adult in a crime, depending on the crime, if it's of a certain severity. The woman who was speaking before, saying that why would we allow people to out children in a classroom, really, really baffles me. For the life of me, I can't understand how when my Johnny leaves and goes to school and becomes Julie, how a parent-teacher conference I'm going to be invited to. Who am I speaking about? How can a teacher call me and ask me to come to a conference about a child that I don't even know who this child is acting like in school, and I'm not even notified? It also brings up a little bit further discussion in my mind. If a child is that scared to tell a parent, and the school, whatever administrator or whoever the district deems it not acceptable to tell a parent, I think that opens up a big can of worms. I think for one, if the child is that petrified, child services probably should be involved. I don't think it's right to assume that a child's identity could be the only thing going on wrong in a person's home. I also believe that the police department should be notified. If a parent or someone in the school is that upset that a child's identity should be withheld from the parent, there could be some legal ramifications if this is ignored. I really think I want to applaud from myself and from a majority of the people polled. Thank you to the board for doing everything that you're doing, for fighting this tooth and nail, for going as far as you go, continue to go as far as you have to go. Fox News, all that doesn't matter. What matters is the end result. To make sure that our kids are our responsibility, not their responsibility.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to make a public comment?
I'd like to say something. My name is Lori Seggio, I'm right here from Youngstown. I was here at the June 20th meeting, so I just want to state that people were threatening Mrs. Tabak. They were telling her blood was going to be on her hands, children were going to die, and I could see how that upset her child. I am disappointed in Teresa, who's a fellow parishioner, cannot even believe that she would come up here and accuse her. I also want to say that parents are detrimental to their children. They need to be involved in everything. I believe that you have things in place that if a child is in danger, you would work with the family. They have to know. There's also a liability issue for the school. If little Johnny wants to be little Janie and he's lying and he goes to the bathroom and decides to assault Joanne and the parent doesn't know, the school is liable. And if And I was little Joanne's mother. We'd all be liable. I mean, I wouldn't be able to control myself. So, I support you 100%. I don't think you should stop. I don't think it's a waste of money because the government are coming after our children. And if we don't stop, we're heading right into communism. And they're going to take our kids away. We need to pay attention. I support you guys 100%. I think you're brave in a culture that would otherwise cancel you if you don't have the strength. I support you. Keep your backbone, and we have it. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to make public comment? Seeing there's no other people to make public comment, I wish to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Motion, discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstentions. Have a good night, everyone.